Hey everybody, Brian here. In this video I want to show you this car here. This is a 2019, it's a Honda HRV, it's a 1.6 diesel, and this is what's called an S model. In this video I want to show you around the features on the outside and the inside of the car. I will go for a quick drive in the car as well, and hopefully then by the end of the video, if it's something you're interested in coming to see, you'll have a better idea of what this car is all about. This is a really nice low mileage example with a full Honda service history. When these cars came out, they were super frugal, like really easy on fuel, so they're rated for somewhere in the region of over 70 miles per gallon. Now, realistically speaking, I spent a bit of time with these cars, and 70 miles per gallon probably is pretty doable. For most people, they'll end up in the kind of 60s, which is somewhere in the region of 4.5 to 5 litres. These cars were actually built on a Honda Jazz platform, which the good news is it made it quite light, and weirdly enough on a Jazz platform it actually made for excellent legroom, which we'll see as we're looking around the car. This particular example though, low mileage car, like really low mileage car, like 19,000 miles on a 19 reg car, that's really low for a diesel, and they don't make these anymore in diesel. They don't make a lot of cars in diesel anymore, so I reckon this is probably going to be one of the last opportunities. I know that sounds like such a friggin' sales pitch, and it probably is a little bit, but it's true. I mean, there's not many low mileage diesel cars where somebody comes along and says, I want a car, it's not too big and bulky, but something that's high off the ground, but something that's fuel efficient in an SUV. And you know what? One thing about these cars, people used to buy them, right, in diesel because they liked the way it drove. So there's a petrol 1.5, 130 horsepower, and there was a diesel, which is this one here, which is 120 horsepower. But this one had 300 newton meters of torque. So when you put your foot down for overtaking, this one had a lot more response. So a lot of people bought it from the point of view of fuel economy, but also from driving pleasure. The colour of this particular car, at a glance it almost looks like a kind of a grey-black colour. It's a deceiving sort of colour. So really, if we look up close now, this car, unfortunately, is quite dusty because there's a building site over that way. And for the next couple of years, we're going to get destroyed with dust from it, and there's not much we can do about it. That is somebody that can't take polish off properly. That's all that is. Anyway, so if you see the colour, it's more of a kind of a purpley effect, but depending on what way the sun shines in it, it can seem kind of, on an overcast day, it's more of a black grey, and then on a sunny day, you might see that kind of purple haze coming through. It's a really nice colour. HRVs, I suppose, are quite busy at the front in terms of the features that are going on, but if you break it down, nice piece of chrome along here. There's a dark kind of charcoal grey grille along there, which breaks up the front of the car. Down here it becomes more of a black, and then there's a splitter that extends out the front of the bumper, so it just makes it a little bit lower to the ground and a little bit more sporty overall. So you'll see a lot of Japanese versions coming in the Vizelle, which are a hybrid automatic. I think for a car like this, it's for somebody that really wants the motorway kind of fuel efficiency, and they also want a car that I suppose is a bit more engaging in how it drives, with a really nice manual gearbox that's in these cars. The diesel engine on these cars requires servicing every 20,000 kilometres. It runs in a timing chain which is non-replaceable, and to be fair, from a maintenance point of view, they've been very straightforward, and the main thing is they've been reliable, especially when they have a good service history like a car like this. It's had 3 Honda services so far. We're going to do another one on it now before it goes anywhere, so usually that makes for a good reliable vehicle going forward. This also got nice side steps on it here. Now, you don't use them to get into the car, but they're sort of visually pleasing when you look at them, so just kind of, I find a lot of SUVs, they kind of look a bit lost in the middle, so they need like something down here to make it a bit lower to the ground and more sporty to fit in with the likes of the splitter that was on the front. This one's got a little bit of a chrome extension which matches up nicely on the door handle here, and then the rear door handle is hidden up here. It's also going to have privacy glass, which is quite dark. Looks nice, but actually it is practical when you've got kids in the back of the car, especially young kids, to stop the sun beating on top of them. And then you can see up top there's a nice spoiler along through here. The rear tail lights are also a individual LED kind of setup in through there, so they look quite cool as well. And then this one's got parking sensors, we'll see, and it's also got a camera. We'll have a look at that on the inside as well. Anyway, in terms of the boot, so the boot is quite big. Some people used to give out about this. Yes, there's pros and cons. A hard one is nice, but this one allows more flexibility, and if you want to take it out, that's it. So you have a massive load area. And while we're on that topic, actually, in terms of load area in these cars, so the seats are quite flexible, so if we drop them down, you quite easily even end up with a very large load area in the back, which is pretty much like a car style van. So very quickly you can get a lot of room, but there's also more. But just one thing I want to show you, there is a light up here, and there's a 12 volt outlet in through there, and then down through here there's a puncture repair kit which is in there, or if you take it out, there's a bit of storage actually. If you actually remove all that stuff, jack and a wheel brace, but not a spare wheel. You can add one if you want, but they don't come standard. Anyway, to let the seats back up, like you're saying to you, there's more flexibility in them. So you see the way you can have them sitting up like that, or what you can do is recline them, let it back a little bit further. It looks like a small amount, but it makes a nice difference when you're actually sitting in the car. I'll show you. So let's say I am 6 foot. Now the leg room in these is weird, and it correlates in a good way. So you let this back. Makes a big difference when you're sitting in the back. There's nice LED lighting up through here. The legroom is really, really excellent in these cars. And weirdly enough, like I said to you, because it comes from the Honda Jazz, the Jazz has the strangest, dirt from my feet. The Jazz has the strangest composition of how a car can have so much legroom for a car that should not have as much legroom as it should. And this was built on the same platform. The legroom is excellent. The Tucson is a super popular SUV that we sell. I think this actually has better legroom. Electrics over here, brushed aluminium, just normal aluminium in through there, sort of a chrome look, and around there, speaker in through there, and obviously they're child lockable doors as well. Up front then, there's a height adjustable seat, there's a steering wheel that goes in and out and up and down as well. Electrics for windows and mirrors are in through there, and they're folding mirrors as well. There's an eco function here, which means basically it reduces how aggressive the cruise control and the air conditioner is when I sit into the car, and relaxes things like the cruise control. The alarm button is over through here. There is cruise control with a speed limiter. There is a trip information for average speed, fuel efficiency, all that kind of stuff. Fuel efficiency backlight, you'll see that changes colour as we're driving to correlate with how much throttle input you're putting into the car. Revolution counter over through here. Headlights are automated, so they come on themselves at daytime and nighttime. Bluetooth is in through here. Radio, excuse me, hiccup there. There is controls for radio up through there. There is then climate control, which is digital, front and rear windscreen demisters, and they also demist the wing mirrors. There's also the more storage down through there. So there's a USB connector and a 12-volt power outlet in through there as well. And then there is an automatic handbrake in through here, and there's the sweetest gearbox to use, but also where it's situated as well. It's really nice. Drinks holders in through there, and then a little bit of storage in through here with an armrest. This car also has this rear view mirror. Now it's quite tinted. Actually, I'm going to zoom in here for a sec on my other camera lens. It kind of becomes a bit clearer. So you can see behind you, it looks quite tinted, but you can see the van that's just driven past. It just takes a minute for my own camera to kind of move in on it. So fine, you can use it. One thing I would say to you though is, there is a normal mirror behind this, okay? We can take this off if we want. So there is parking sensors, you'll hear the beep. But also I get a parking camera in through here. Now, my opinion, I think it actually makes sense to go with the sensors. You have this massive camera back in, and then it turns off, and then you have your rear view mirror in through there, fine. But up through here, I can also, if I want, and a lot of people do it, I see it on new Tucson as well, where people want, you hit the button, and the camera is on the whole time while you're driving. So it's just giving you a more panoramic view of actually what's behind you. Again, it'll be the customer's choice, wing mirror, big one in through there, or you can turn it off and then just use it like a normal mirror in behind there as well. But that'll be the customer's choice, I think, whoever buys it. Anyway, let's go for a drive. So to drive the car, it feels high off the ground. I mean, I suppose most people that buy these cars, they wanted something that was higher off the ground than like a Civic, but they didn't want something as big as something like a CRV or something like that. So they just wanted elevated driving position, but they still want a nice, neat car in terms of, you know, how the car parks and maneuvers and all that kind of stuff. The engine, like we're saying, lovely responsive engine, over 300 newton meters of torque in this engine. So it feels really, really punchy, but it's still a very, very, very frugal engine as well. But like I said to you, the thing about this car, again, high driving position, fair enough. But say, for example, you want to do a quick turn in a car like this, and this would be more kind of an urban kind of thing, an easy kind of 3-point turn, it's probably a lot. I know, look, it's easy on every car, but just in a car this size, it's nice and neat and straightforward. That's what people liked about them. So this one's a nice low mileage example. So engine, gearbox, brakes, steering, everything feels good in the car, and the gearbox is lovely in these cars. Don't take my word for it, come drive it yourself. Where it is lovely, but it changes gear really, really nice and neatly, real kind of precise. It's kind of sounds stupid, but when you actually have it in gear, it feels like it's in gear. So anyway, there you have it. That is our 2019 Honda HRV 1.6 diesel S. If there's any information you want on the car, 086 843 1945, call, text, WhatsApp. I'll be happy to run through information on the car, or trading your old car in, or finance. So hopefully the video has been useful, and thanks a million for watching.